Good afternoon. I would have rather went after Allah. Sorry, SCIU. I don't like going after Allah. I wish you, hopefully, I don't know, it was around 9 months for Miss Ortiz. Maybe it's time, maybe it's not, I don't know. I won't guess. I woke up this morning to a phone call and we had some of our buses stolen, 2 of them, and some catalytic converters, and they were quickly recovered, so that's a good thing. But the message from the people in transportation was, we need more police officers and safety officers, and our response was, and their response to asking for more officers from the district was, we don't have the funding for it. And like I told our officers this morning, I am not going to argue the budget cut, especially when it went to something called BSAP, Black Student Achievement. I am not going to be that person, and nor should anybody that works at LA Unified. Having said that, we do need to move forward. We had the climate advocates. I think they're still trying to get off the ground in their positions. They're not a replacement for school police officers. And we had a high school 2 weeks ago that 2 loaded guns were recovered from. And once again, I'll leave the high school, the name out of it. It's not the important part of the conversation. But if we're not going to have police officers on campus, and I'm not here to fight that, we need to establish proper protocol. So the issue was a teacher saw an individual with a gun in his waistband, and they decided to take it upon themselves to go get the person out of class. I would stop them right there. 5 years ago, it would have been the administrator or the dean. It would have been something like dean over the police, over the school radio, dean to one being the school police. And the school police would answer. They said, yes, how can I help you? Can you come into my office? And then they would decide to go in to get a gun off the student or search for a possible gun from a student, off a student. This was interrupted. These are UTLA members. The deans are UTLA members. The administrators are ALA members. These individuals did not sign up to go retrieve and disarm students from loaded firearms. Having said that, one of our officers was called because the dean tried to get the student out of class. The student ran off campus, which is a good thing, right? He took the threat off campus. And then they called our officer, and our officer stopped the individual. It was a loaded 9mm handgun. We call it a ghost gun, untraceable. But then a campus aide came forward and they said, you know what, we saw another individual with a gun, and he gave it to his girlfriend. So that was enough to go do a search of the young lady's locker, and they recovered a second loaded 9mm gun. And I'm not overly alarmed about all these things. This is my business. But if you were going to remove what I consider the individual that keeps the campus safe from the campus, we could argue that on a different date. Have policies and procedures in place. Tell your constituents or tell the people that are working for you to have a protocol to call a police department. It doesn't have to be school police. So, you know, I'm preaching to the choir with some of you, but I am trying to move forward. We're having an issue. I'm not gonna, the fentanyl issue is a huge issue. Hopefully people are talking about Labrador canines, maybe not the aggressive canine types, but the dogs serve as a deterrent, and they do a good job. When you go to Disneyland, you see fluffy little dogs that sniff out things like weapons and drugs. It doesn't have to be the overly aggressive police type that we see in these little police dramas, but I'd like to see us revisit that. We have our old chief back, and he's trying to work on that, I believe. Having said that, the webpage says we have 400 sworn officers. We are not there. We're 220, something like that. We're trying to get our numbers up. The problem that I have as their union president is we get this police periodical. It's a PORAC magazine, and it has the recruitment in the back. And everybody's recruiting police officers. We're fighting over them, which is a good thing. And I don't want to say go Bears, that's not my school, but Cal Berkeley, they start off at $96,000, they top out at $162,000 a year. Granted, there is an inflation adjustment, I'm not going to hide that, but still, everybody is fighting over our police officers. And I think the main reason why our police officers are still leaving and getting $30,000 raises, it's not so much for the money, and it's really not the work. It's there's a lack of job security. I understand the politics of everything. Once again, I'm not going to try to undo something that happened in the past, but our officers are looking for some sort of sign to say that we're willing to reinvest in student safety, meaning the officers. So thank you very much. And Ms. Garcia, we went back and forth, online, offline. I wish you well. I know prior to the defunding, we had our reasons why we were at odds together. Moving forward now, I wish you well. And my intention here is not to slander anybody, but truly, I wish you well. Thank you. Bye-bye.